chair, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'll give them all they want.
Thank you.
You looking good?
I need to get into the clerk, right?
Yes, sir. Right there. How are you doing? Good to see you. Hello, how are you, ma'am? I'm great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is 6:30, March the 25th. On Monday, let the City of Grantville City Council regular meeting come to order. Please rise to the invocation and the pledge. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, residents' comments regarding agenda items. Mr. Daniel Williams, you wish to speak on the Grantville Veterans Memorial Park.
Good evening. Good evening. Mayor, council member, manager, and to the citizens of Grantville. I would just like to say that the Grantville Veterans Association is 100% in favor of the proposals to improve and enhance the Veteran Memorial Park. And we will do all that we can to help. So any assistance you may need from us, if we are physically, financially able to do, we are just a phone call away. So I just want you to know that you have our 100% support in the efforts, and we look forward to the work and improvement in the Memorial Park. And are there any questions of me? And by the way, I am Daniel Williams, the Vice Commander of Grantville Veterans Association. Now, we are few in number. There's only 3 of us remaining due to the death of our other members, but we do all we can in support of Grantville and veterans. So, are there any questions of me? So again, thank you for the efforts that are proposed, and we look forward to it all coming together. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Sergeant Major.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to speak. I normally walk down there to speak, but I'd like to speak.
On what? What agenda item?
Residents' comments regarding agenda items.
Okay, what's the agenda item?
The agenda,
Okay.
approval of agenda. Grantville Municipal Code Section 2.24 provides for 2 opportunities for comments from the public at each city council meeting. I am in opposition to the city manager, Al Grishaber, and Mayor Proctor changing the agenda format, preventing this First Amendment right of freedom of speech, since my motion to amend the agenda at the last city council meeting did not receive a second and it was denied. I requested this item be placed on tonight's agenda. A resolution recognizing and honoring March as National Women's History Month. The city clerk indicated that I missed the deadline and the item was not placed on this agenda. That is incorrect, because the request was filed with the city clerk's office on March the 12th, ahead of the Tuesday deadline date. I was hoping that the resolution would be approved, and I invited a representative from the Cherokee Nation, Minister Perrin, to attend this meeting. She's done an outstanding job in her outreach to the community, providing a positive image regarding the contributions of Native Americans. In the absence of my resolution honoring women, I would like to personally thank Ms. Perrin. Needless to say, I am disappointed and saddened with the harsh treatment women are currently receiving in this new administration. I will continue to insist that women are treated as human beings and given equal respect, and I have a copy of this for the record. Thank you.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda, adding the resolution honoring National Women's History Month.
Ms.
I
Barrett,
just
as
gave
we
everybody a
stated,
copy.
we have to move forward from what was on the work session into this agenda. If we do
The
not,
work session has nothing to do with this
it
agenda.
absolutely has to do with this agenda. We covered everything that's
It's
currently
not,
on this
that's not
agenda
what's
in
in
the
the
work
code,
session.
that's not what, it's what's in the municipal code.
It
It
is.
says that you present your item the Tuesday prior to the meeting, and I did that way before Tuesday, to add this item to this agenda. That's what the code says. Now, the city attorney knows, he's sitting over there with a copy of the code, and he can look at it and see that it says, to put an item on this agenda, you present it the Tuesday prior to this meeting, and I did that.
But to do that, we would violate the Georgia Open Records Act because it was not on the
The
prior
city-
agenda.
I'm asking
that
for
would allow
the city attorney
citizens
to
to
give
do
us an
that.
opinion on that. The city attorney has the municipal code over there, and it says that you want an item on this agenda, you get to the clerk the Tuesday before this meeting, and I did. I gave it to Robbie. You can't go behind that and make up new rules. You gotta amend it, you gotta amend the code. You can't change that.
It
That's what
doesn't state
says.
in the code, it
Why
doesn't
isn't
state in
the
the
city
code that
attorney,
we
can
can
the
put this
city
on
attorney
there.
please respond?
Mr.
What it
Mitchell.
says in the code about
Well,
adding an item.
I think the real issue here is you've got a motion on the floor to amend the agenda that either gets a second or it doesn't. I mean, that,
Well, again, we had made the rules that you have to get on the work session to come into this session. Nothing, if it was on the work session, we're not gonna talk about it on this
I
session.
understand that you've got a motion on the floor to
Okay,
amend
we have a
the
motion on
agenda.
the
and
floor.
that-
Are you making a motion, Ms. Berry?
Yes, I made a motion, Mr. Mayor,
Do I have a
to
second?
approve the agenda, adding the Women's History, a resolution honoring Women's History Month.
Do I have a second?
I gave everybody a copy. Do we have a second?
Okay. All in favor of adding it?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All
Aye.
opposed?
We've got 3 ayes, Mr.
I was
Mayor.
voting for it, aye. We'll
Okay.
put it on the agenda.
Thank you.
It's on the agenda.
Women's History.
Okay,
Thank you.
so,
Okay, you got,
motion, second, I don't know what they were voting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
okay. Now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda
As amended.
as amended?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes, City Council regular meeting minutes, February 26, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion,
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? They're not correct, Mr.
Approval
Mayor.
of the minutes, City Council work session meeting minutes, March 11, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion,
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Okay.
I
Mr.
oppose,
Krisha.
Mr. Mayor, they're not correct minutes.
Okay. Mr. Krisha.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. First item on our agenda is a public hearing to hear the application for a special use permit for a liquor store located at 6425 Highway 29 South, Grantville, Georgia, tax parcel GO4 0011001, zoning district, general commercial, applicant Nihai Patel. We will open the public hearing at 6:38. Anybody that is in favor, anybody that is opposed to the special use permit, please come to the podium and speak. Seeing no one, is anyone in the audience in favor of the city council passing the special use permit for the liquor store located at 6425 Highway 29 South? Come forward, please. Seeing no one, we will, upon motion of the city council, close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed at 6:39. The next item on the agenda is an application by Nihai Patel for an alcohol beverage license to operate a retail package beer, wine, liquor store located at 6425 Highway 29 South, Grantville, Georgia, further identified as parcel GO4 0011001. We will open the public hearing at 6:40. Anybody who is opposed to the application to operate a liquor store at 6425 Highway 29, please come to the podium. Seeing no one, we will ask that anybody in favor of the application for an alcohol beverage licenses to operate a retail package beer, wine, liquor store located at 6425 Highway 29, come forward. Seeing no one, upon motion, we will close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is closed at 6:41. Last public hearing is a public hearing on the text amendments to the zoning ordinance to establish new zoning districts, RS15, suburban residential single-family dwelling district, medium density, and RU7, urban residential single-family district, high density. Planning Commission recommended that the City Council adopt the text amendments. We will open the public hearing at 6:42, and anybody opposed to the text amendments to the zoning ordinance, to establish new zoning districts RS 15 and RU 7. Please come forward.
My name is Selma Cody. I live at 214 West Grantville Road. I think some people up here need to take some instructions for parliamentary procedures. I'm here in reference to an item having to do with high-density and medium-density housing. First of all, let me say, I realize that growth and change are inevitable. That's a given. But what kind of growth and change will be best for our small town? This question has not been asked nor answered. Therefore, I think moving ahead with this zoning text amendment is premature. I also realize, and this has been documented, that there is a housing shortage and that small towns like ours are under pressure to change their zoning to accommodate the shortage. However, goals and plans should come first. I have never heard this council discuss this matter, and no public meeting has been held to discuss the best approach to addressing growth for our community. Surely you realize that there will be an added burden on the infrastructure, which includes our roads, our traffic, our sewage, our water supply, the electric grid, and telecommunications. All of these will be affected. So who's going to pay for this? You've got the investment, you've got the cost up front, but then you've also got ongoing maintenance. Even our elementary school will be affected. Are the homeowners going to pay for this? Are property taxes going to keep on going up? Are the business owners going to help pay for it? We have no assurances that voters will continue to approve SPLOST, which is or has been the funding source for infrastructure. I urge you to vote no on this text amendment to our zoning ordinance. Put your heads together and begin making plans for smart growth. There are federal and private organizations and grants that will help you do that. Don't put the cart before the horse. Now, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I have a petition here that has 26 names on it. If I had more time, I'm sure I could have gotten 100. All of them agree that this should not move forward. All of these are registered voters. So keep that in mind when you make this decision. Do you want to see this or not?
You can submit it to Robbie.
Thank you.
Does anybody else want to speak who is opposed to the text amendments? Please come forward. Just state your name and address, please.
Yes, my name is Adrienne Griffin. My address is 28 Priscilla Drive. I, like Ms. Cody, suggest that the city be able to perform what we need on the infrastructure for the citizens that are here, come up with the funding, do away with the basically what we've been paying for over sewage for the 24 years that I have lived here due to violations, that we need to get all of this and build smart. So I'm opposed to voting on this at this time until we as a community can come together on how to do this smart, that it's a benefit for everyone. Because right now, it's going to be a burden. And when we start talking about these types of zonings, historically in other areas in this greater community, I've lived in Troup County, lived in Harris County, worked in Atlanta, lived in Columbus. I've been in this area since the 70s. I've seen where communities have voted similarly and then it fails. And it doesn't fail immediately, it fails long-term. And then you have properties that never flourished, and now they just sit empty and wasteful, and they're derelict, and then they become another burden on the community to clean up later. So let's be real smart about how we grow, because we have a great community here. We have wonderful opportunities, and we have prime opportunity to grow smart. When I moved here, I had the choice to go to Sonoya or Tyrone. The government is what brought me here with a farmer's loan. I felt like Grantville could be smart in how they grew. Tyrone. I don't think anybody that lives here would want to live in the growth that Tyrone did. It's so overpopulated, it's not even nice to be there. Sonoya, okay, a little mediocre. But again, you're so close to Fayetteville and the traffic, you don't get what you get when you live here. People move here because we still want to be in small communities where we know our neighbors. I was late because I stopped to help my neighbor move some furniture. Saw her outside struggling, picked it up, put it in my Expedition, drove it to her house, came right up here. I would not have done that in Sonoya because I probably wouldn't know my neighbor. Would definitely not have done that in Tyrone, because if I didn't know my neighbor, I'm not going to go into some neighborhood I don't know. But here, it's comfortable. I see children playing here. They still ride their bikes, like around town safely, like we did back in the 60s and the 70s. You don't get that in Sonoya, and you don't get that in Tyrone. You don't even get it in LaGrange, you don't get it in Greenville, you don't get it in Luthersville, you don't get it in Franklin, but you get it in Grantville. So let's grow smart and keep that. Keep what makes us this beautiful community. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak who is opposed to the text amendments to the zoning ordinance to establish new zoning districts, RS 15 and RU 7?
I need some help.
I got you, come on.
Good evening.
Evening.
My name is Barry Lundy. I live at 62 Hawkins Street, and I'm here to voice opposition to this new zoning overlay proposal that's being proposed here. I was on the city council as a councilman in 2006. There was a group that wanted to develop industrial park beside the interstate. Well, the plans were going well, but the bottom fell out of the economy because there was an election here. Didn't nobody know who was going to win the election or what was going to happen. Well, what was supposed to happen didn't happen. The project went south because there wasn't any funding. The developer took his money and went somewhere else with it. We face the same issue here now. This is an election year. We don't know who's going to win the election. We don't know whether the money going to still be there. We don't know what Mr. Scarborough and his people are going to want to invest their money after this election, depending on who wins. I'm of the opinion, I think we should wait. We still got time. What's the urgency? Why not wait until see what happens after the election before we rush into this? This is not something that needs to be done now. Right now, we are at 90% of our capacity with our wastewater. We only got room for another 100 houses in this area. Suppose Mr. Scarborough and the rest of the developers don't decide to go somewhere else with that money. We have already passed this zoning ordinance. We got 100 houses here that's gonna put us close to 100% of our capacity. What will happen when water start running out of these wastewater treatment ponds and all this other stuff we got here? We're gonna have issues with the EPD. Because we are basing this on the developers putting the wastewater filtration plant in this area, not in the city, in the county. Suppose that doesn't happen. We have gone on, changed the zoning orders. We are close to overcapacity. What are we gonna do? We're gonna pay the EPD some fine because we can't expand the ponds no more. We have capacity, we can't build anymore. What's gonna happen then? Has anybody thought about that?
Is there anybody else who would like to speak opposed to the text amendments to the zoning ordinance to establish new zoning districts RS 15 and RU 7? Seeing no one, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of the text amendments to the zoning ordinance to establish new zoning districts RS 15 and RU 7? Seeing no one, upon motion of the city council, we will close the public hearing at 6:55.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay.
The next item on the agenda for the mayor and city council is a decision on the special use permit application for the liquor store at 6425 Highway 29 South, Grantville, Georgia, tax parcel GO4 0011 001, zoning district, general commercial, applicant Nihai Patel.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Mayor? Can I speak?
Sure.
Is the applicant here? Is the applicant here?
They were,
He
they
was,
just left.
yes, ma'am.
They left after public hearing.
Okay. Is it
Okay. All in favor? All opposed?
abstained?
Okay. Next.
The decision on the application by Nihai Patel for an alcohol beverage license to operate a retail package store, beer, wine, and liquor, located at Highway 6425, Highway 29 South, Grantville, Georgia, further identified as tax parcel GO4 0011 001.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Abstained?
All right.
Next item we have, ladies and gentlemen, is the decision on the second reading of ordinance 2024-02 to adopt text amendments to the zoning ordinance to establish new zoning districts, RS 15, suburban residential single-family dwelling district, medium density, and RU 7, urban residential single-family dwelling district, high density.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, let me clarify just a few things that were said so that it's very clear, so there's no misunderstanding. One, the sewage treatment plant, which was approved last year, is being built in the city of Grantville, not the county. Number two, all we're doing this evening is adding 2 additional zonings. No property is being rezoned. Anybody who's owning property who wants to rezone will have to put forward a plan, come before planning and zoning, get approved, put signs up, have another public hearing, and then we will have to vote on that. These 2 zoning districts are currently used in Noonan, Georgia. Third, as far as the quote high density, we already have a high density zoning. It's called R6. It is multifamily, 6 units to an acre. So we're not really putting anything except allowing for single resident at that level. So I just want to make sure that's very clear with all this. And again, as far as sewage capacity, they would have to be approved to be done knowing our current sewage capacity. We are thinking to the future, and we do have plans to grow smart. That is all, that's been from day one. So I just want to clarify that. Any other questions,
I'm just
discussion?
gonna reiterate, nothing is changing zoning wise. They have to come through the whole process again to rezone any property. This is just putting the language in there for an option.
Any other comments or questions?
That's not what you told us
Any
when
other
you
comments or
presented
questions,
this.
please? Quiet in the audience. All right, all in favor? All opposed?
Opposed?
Okay. Next, Mr. Boucher.
Excuse me. The next item for the mayor and city council members is a decision on the application for a special event permit for the 2024 Noonan Rotary Club Tour of Coweta Rest Stop to take place on April the 20th, 2024 on West Broad Street outside the passenger depot.
Do I have a motion?
So, second.
All in favor?
The next item is a decision on the second reading of ordinance 2024-01 to establish a city council appointed beautification board.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Mayor, this beautification board has duties that duplicate what we have assigned to the recreation board.
I thought we clarified that last time.
I looked at that ordinance and they're duplicating. I looked at the code and they're duplicating. We don't need 2 boards doing the same thing.
I don't believe Parks and Recreation does the same thing as this board, based on what I've read. And any other council have any other comments on that?
No. Can you be specific as to which parts duplicate?
The recommendations that they make annually regarding the general plan.
Well, I
The
mean,
recommendations they make regarding parks. Why do we need 2 boards doing the same thing? I don't understand.
I don't believe the beautification board makes a recommendation on parks. No, that's only Parks and Recreation.
And we were on the hook at this already. It was, the only thing that was, said was like rule number 4, that they could, assist, park director if needed. Am I correct?
That's what I read. I think we've been over this for 3 times now.
Yes, we have.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed?
Next, Mr. Boucher.
Next item for your consideration is decision on resolution number 2024-02 to establish a policy for memorializing distinguished citizens and public servants in the city of Grantville. And before anyone makes a motion, I would suggest that you add a sentence in 7D, which is on page 2. It says, D says, if renaming a street or building is being recommended, there shall be no duplicate name of any public property within Coweta County that may lead to confusion, I would suggest you add another sentence saying, quote, "Street name changes must be approved by Coweta County 911, because the county has passed an ordinance which says all new streets or street name changes must be approved by Coweta County 911. It would just bring us in line with the county ordinance.
Yeah.
Okay, can we add that as a,
So I can make a motion to approve
Yes.
as amended.
approve as amended? Motion to approve as amended.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
first of all, this resolution was a resolution that I brought before the city council, and it was tabled. I mean, you added different language in it, but the resolution to memorialize distinguished citizens, that was tabled. So
That
why are we
was an
still
ordinance,
talking?
ma'am.
Well, this topic, why are we talking about it? If it's on the table, why are we talking about it? That's number one. Number two, you've got things under item 7 that says, before you memorialize someone that has died, right? Person died. That's what we're talking about?
That was changed.
Yes.
That's not.
Well, whether the person has passed or not, they have to have lived in Grantville for 5 years or more. Why? 5 years. They have to serve 2 full terms on a board that they've been appointed to. Why 2 full terms? I don't understand why you're putting all these restrictions on someone that needs to be recognized, whether they passed away or whether they, for some reason, you want to recognize them while they're alive. Why are you putting all these restrictions on giving someone a
So that we have a
recommendation to be
consistent-
memorialized?
We're doing it so we have a consistent basis.
Yeah, it's criteria, that's
Yeah,
the
so
same.
we-
The criteria is too steep and there's no reason for it. Why do they have to have lived here 5 years?
I mean, we, are going to, like, change the passed away part, correct?
Yeah.
Is that-
That's it, yeah, that's your catch.
Yeah. Everything else is in line with like Noonan, Atlanta, other cities that have the same policy.
Now, we're talking about they have to serve 2 full terms. Now, we've had several people that passed away. Did they serve 2 full terms? Outstanding citizens, did they serve 2 full terms in the
But
positions
it
they
does
were
not,
in?
it does not mean only like public service, it also says distinguished citizens,
Yeah.
yes.
Don't you think that's kind of, why are you putting time in the hands, and you want to give this duty to the HPC, I see? Why are you tying their hands as to what criteria they're gonna use?
Because we
Why is
gotta
that
be,
necessary?
we gotta be fair for everyone.
Yeah.
The same rules must be applied to every applicant.
So it's not just electing or bringing forth somebody that's, they happen to know better than the next person over, so that everybody's judged by the same recommendation. And as the city grows, that's gonna become more and more important.
I'm not sure about this criteria here is questionable, and I'm not sure that, is this being patterned after another city, or is this somebody up here decided that this is what, you have to live here for 5 years? Where did these come from?
Took recommendations from a couple of different city charters.
Yes. Atlanta, Noonan, LaGrange, Savannah.
Yeah.
Hogansville.
Well, my only question is to the city attorney. If we table a subject, don't we have to take it off the table?
Well, certainly generally if something is tabled, but my understanding is this is a separate action. It is not the same action that was tabled.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I heard a motion.
I made a motion as amended.
Was there
Did we have a second?
was there a second?
Second.
Okay. All right, let's vote on it. All in favor? All opposed?
Opposed?
Okay, Mr. Grishaber.
Discussion on first reading of ordinance number 2024-04, text amendments to the zoning ordinance for a neighborhood unit plan.
So I'll take this one, it's just discussion, as we talked about last time, this is going before planning and zoning this next month. We already have this as a zoning neighborhood unit plan. Some of the restrictions are pulling out, discussed with Brennan, is to remove the maximum size, so there is no maximum size of acreage to be considered. Also reducing the size of the actual heated area to, we're actually still looking at what we're going to come down to, but below 1,400, potentially to 950. So there's nothing to vote on tonight, but that is those are the primary changes we will be making to this. Any questions? All right, Mr. Crucier. What? Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, what is this, we have a recommendation from the planning commission?
No, it's going to planning and zoning next month.
Oh, it's going to them next month before we,
Before we vote on it at the end of the month.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
The next item for the city council is a decision on the appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission, for 2-year terms to expire December 31st, 2024. Selma Cody, Albert Lattimore Jr., and Charles Phillips.
All right, so what we're going to do, we're heading into board appointments. Each person coming into each board appointment will have to be motioned and seconded. And then we vote on them one at a time. As we have 3 openings on the HPC, we can do it up here. So do I have a motion for Selma Cody?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second? Hearing none, she does not advance. Do I have a motion for Albert Lattimore Jr.?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor of Albert Lattimore Jr.?
Aye.
Okay? Do I have a motion for Mr. Charles Phillips?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. That leaves us with 1 vacancy on the HPC.
So, Ms., can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got approval for Charles Phillips?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Okay, now you've got his name listed somewhere else, so he can't be appointed
Did-
to anyone in any other board?
I went through this extensively, Mr. Mitchell, I didn't have you do this, but I see no language that states you can't be on multiple boards.
I would be I would object to any person being on more than one board in the city. It's
Well,
not
you-
necessary.
You've got a chance to vote on it, so, but again,
Well,
I
think
can't,
we should-
I can't
I think
restrict
we
the
should
gentleman
talk
from
about
wanting to
that,
deal.
Mr. Mayor. I think we should, as a body, talk about whether we're gonna start putting one person on more than one board,
Well,
or putting
then-
people who are married on the same board. I mean,
Then-
we need to
Done
talk
before.
about that. I know it's been done before.
Okay, then
That's
if
not
we
good policy.
want to add a change in the rule or a change in the ordinance, that comes next month. Okay? That's an ordinance change. We have to go through the process. Okay? All right, go ahead, Mr. Boucher.
The next is decision on applications to serve on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. Matthew Scobie, Taylor Phillips, Charles Phillips, and Antonio Parks.
Okay, we only have 2 openings. All the council has a ballot with 4 names, but to move these on, we're going to have to motion each one individually. Do I have a motion for Mr. Matthew Scobie?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion for Taylor Phillips.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
A motion for Mr. Charles Phillips.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
A motion for Mr. Antonio Parks.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, please fill out your ballot, choose 2, only 2, and we'll pass them down to Mr. Boucher. Got one more to come, Mr. Boucher.
Thank you.
One more coming.
Well, I only have 3.
I know, one more's coming.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Pass that to the mayor. As tallied by the city attorney.
All right. So I need to make a decision between two, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I don't understand.
There's a tie.
We got a
What
tie.
is the time? What is it?
The two people got 2 votes each.
Okay, who are the two people?
Well, I don't have the ballot.
Matthew Scobie and Antonio Parks.
So you have to break the time?
I have to break the tie.
Okay. Taylor Phillips is appointed. She has 3 votes. And Antonio Parks has 3 votes.
Okay.
Those are the 2 individuals that will be appointed to serve on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the appointment of these 2 individuals after they've had a background investigation, because this is the Parks and Recreation Board, the Recreation Board, and they have a lot of contact with young people, and we need to make sure that these people that we're appointing do not have any criminal background. My motion is to approve them upon getting satisfactory background investigations on them.
I don't believe we've ever had to do that before. I
I'm
think we
making
had
a
that
motion.
discussion.
I'm making that motion.
Okay, but it's not in the requirements of taking the position. If they truly are going to have contact with children, then absolutely they will need a background check done. But as of now, they are now on the board.
I made a motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, it's too late. We've appointed them to the board. If we're
We
going to
haven't
add
appointed them,
requirements,
Mayor.
we just did.
I made a motion before the appointment.
If we're going to require this, then everybody needs to take that background check. We don't have that in writing anywhere.
But we motioned in second before we balloted.
Yes. So it's done. Now, if we want to come back again next month and say, hey, we want a requirement in the ordinance that states that anybody on Parks and Recreation has to have a background check, then we can do that. And we can do background checks secondarily, and then if necessary, someone doesn't pass, we remove it.
Can you take a recommendation from the Parks and Recs director if they're gonna have contact with children?
There's that too. There's no guarantee that these people have contact with children.
Right, if they're just making suggestions, they're not necessarily having contact with children.
Correct.
They come to the events, Mr. Mayor, and they help with the activities with the children. They have access to the children. And
Okay,
Mr.
then
Clark
if we
knows
want
that.
to do that, then let's put it on the work session for next month. Okay? All right, next, Mr. Appreciator.
A decision on an application to serve on the Planning and Zoning Commission, Mark Sprada.
Mark, are you in the audience, sir? You didn't know you were showing up on this, you never got pulled off, so you're good, you don't have to talk. All right, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Okay?
The next item is decision on the applications to serve on the Beautification Board, Brenda Raptis, Judy Loveland, Charles Phillips, for a 2-year term to expire December 31st, 2025.
Okay. Again, we're gonna take these one at a time. We have 5 openings on the board. Do I have a motion for Brenda Raptis?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Do I have a motion for Judy Loveland?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
A motion for Mr. Charles Phillips.
Motion.
Second.
Opposed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed.
Okay,
Mr. Phillips was appointed to another board. I oppose.
okay. Mr. Patricia?
Mr. Mayor,
Hmm?
I have one question. when do these terms, when are they effective? When is the
Immediately.
beautification board, when is that effective?
It starts now.
Yes.
The next item for your consideration is a decision on the Veteran Parks improvement to install permanent flagpoles and flags at the Veterans Park. If it is approved, this project will be added to the capital improvement plan, which will be amended next month.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Okay, I wanna add a little bit, is that all right?
Yep.
I think this would be a wonderful thing for the city of Grantville, but I had talked to Mr. Clark about the cost, which was originally put in at $4,000. And that was derived kind of by, different means. And I inquired with two companies who actually do this, because the reality is, if we want to do this, let's do it right. And there's liability with this. We got to make sure that whoever puts them in is bonded, is insured, has done it before. And I talked to two companies, and the variable on the cost is how much wind speed do you want your flagpole to be able to sustain? And they said you can do a 60 mile an hour, a 70 mile an hour, or 100 mile an hour, and 25 feet tall. And I mean, folks, we'd get a 70 mile an hour wind with some of our stuff. So I just said, okay, what's it cost to install a flagpole with a nice flagpole with a nice base that looks good, that fits in that park? And he told me, and they both told me this, it's $2,000 per flag. The plan is 8 poles. So we also have to consider buying flags, and then also took a consideration on any other landscape work, because understand, to put these in, they need to be surveyed, it needs to be done. So at $18,000, that's the budget. We may not go over that, hopefully we're under, which is good. But I just want to make sure that it's very clear that there is going to be a cost, and we have to do it right with an outside company. We can't do this as the city of Grantville to put these in. All right? Any further discussion?
Where is this money slotted from?
It will come from SPOS funds, recreation and culture.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I just
Yes.
wanted to double check.
Okay? Anything else? All in favor? All opposed? None. Okay, good. Residents' comments, Mr. The women's history, sorry.
I've got one. Hold on, we got women's history that we added.
Okay, do I have a motion?
A motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor of adding this?
Aye.
Okay. Residents' comments, Mr. Markerson.
My name's Tyler Murchison. I own Murchison Automotive down by Dabble Wood Store. I feel like y'all need to come together and redo the policies and procedures for utility disconnects. I said this last year, and y'all still really haven't changed it. And this go around, y'all actually cut my utility services off after I paid the bill. And then you strong arm me for $30 to reconnect it. So, I really feel like y'all owe me $30. Honestly, not y'all, but the city in general. There's a Georgia Public Service Commission that governs every utility service provider in the state of Georgia, minus municipalities. Municipalities such as yourselves get to do whatever they want to do, I guess. But if every other private utility company is required by state law to give proper notice before they disconnect somebody's utility services. I wouldn't think that a municipality would think that they are any better than any other private enterprise. With that being said, I think y'all need to come together and brainstorm a new policy and procedures for cutting people's utilities off. The second thing I would like to talk about is the speed cameras. We've had a police officer sitting up there with blue lights for as long as I've been here. I would really like to know how many speeding tickets have been written in that school zone while there is a sitting officer on duty with blue lights. My guess would be near zero. Okay? I guarantee you on April 8th, when those speed cameras go live, there's no longer an officer there, which is completely contradictory for school safety, because now there's not an officer presence and people are going to blow through a school zone. And that camera's going to write tickets, which is what it was designed to do. It was designed to bring revenue to the city. It wasn't designed to be safe for any of our kids. And quite frankly, if any of our kids ever make it down to that highway, somebody needs to be charged with child neglect. Somebody needs to be sent to prison for not paying attention to the kids. Because that highway is very far away from the school.
So just to clarify, Chief, who owns those cameras?
Redline.
It's a private company owns it.
Okay.
That also receives 30% or a percentage of
I
all
don't
tickets
think it-
issued by that machine.
I don't know. They get some, I don't know what it is.
But I
But-
promise you, we'll still have a police officer.
As of
there.
right now, there's no officer gonna be moved from that. I mean, I put that there when I came here, and I think it's a great thing to have there. And as far as I know, we're not moving them out of, I mean, we're still gonna have officers there. The only time we don't have an officer there is if a call comes in, we have to leave. But right now, either myself or,
I mean, in my opinion, that's worked great.
yeah, I like it too.
Because that, I mean, an officer's there, if anybody did blow through there, he's there to
Yeah, well, see,
go get them.
this was really kind of brought to us through the school system. The school system's put it in every school in Coweta County, is what I was told. So, I mean, it was brought to us through the school system. I don't know why, I mean, like you said, I don't think we've ever had a problem
I don't
there.
necessarily agree that a private company should make money.
All right,
off
well,
breaking the
let's
law
move on.
either.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Pickering.
Speaking on behalf of Robert Royce. Not sure if you need this or not.
Move away.
I have something from Robert, I'm speaking on his behalf because you put residents only are allowed to speak.
Okay.
All right, so, we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, to ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Some of y'all don't understand up here. The First Amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting free speech exercise thereof, or abridging the freedoms of speech, or of the press, or of the rights of the people to peacefully assemble, and the petition to government and redress for grievances. Mr. Mayor, you made a comment, you said you are not my government. You are everybody's government. You are an elected mayor. This Constitution is written, I'm gonna make sure I email you a copy of it. I'll move on to the further future amendments in the next meeting, whenever the 3 minutes resets. You are everybody's government. Everybody. It doesn't matter if you're from Oregon, Alaska, Washington, can come to Grantville. You're elected officials. Some of y'all are doing an amazing job. Some of y'all probably need to be recalled. That's all. We'll move on to I'm gonna start teaching y'all what the U.S. Constitution is, moving through each amendment. And every meeting that the public is allowed to speak. Y'all have a great day.
Terrorize us is what you actually mean.
Mr. Pickering, question for you.
Yes, sir.
Who wrote the First Amendment?
You tell me.
You don't know? You're
Oh,
the
I know.
constitutional expert. Who wrote it?
You tell me.
You don't know.
You tell me.
James Madison, who was he?
You tell. I have no idea. You tell me.
Oh my gosh, please sit down.
I don't know nothing about the U.S.
Where are you
Constitution.
from, Russell?
All right, Mr. Grishaber.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to
I ain't
make,
from Grange.
can I make a comment as a resident?
I'm a terrorist.
Ms. Berry,
You don't put anything on the agenda for council members to comment. I'd like to make a comment as a resident. And this is,
That was from Mr.
okay,
Picard.
this is regarding the restrooms at parks. Now, I contacted Councilman Bray and asked him if he could assist with this problem. The restrooms are locked. In case you don't know, audience, the restrooms are locked at our parks. And you go to any other surrounding city and find the restrooms are open. You can use them. Well, I was told that the restrooms are not gonna be open until April the 1st, and I don't know what that April Fool's Day or what's April the 1st?
That's a Monday?
They should have been, yep, it's 6 days away, but you've got little kids going behind the buildings using that, because they can't get into the bathrooms.
The restrooms will be open for Easter weekend. That has already been planned.
The restrooms should have been open. They should have been open as soon as the frost lifted. And I walk around here, I went over to the ballpark, the restrooms were open. Go to Griffin Park, the restrooms are locked. So I don't understand why. And I called you, and I contacted the city hall, and they told me they didn't know. I contacted the recreation director, she said she didn't know, she'd have to check with Mr. Grishaber. So why are you, Mr. Grishaber, locking the bathrooms at the park? I don't know. We're always talking about residents interfering, non-residents interfering. Mr. City Manager, you don't live in Grantville. Mr. City Attorney, you don't live in Grantville. City Clerk, you don't live in Grantville. These people making these decisions do not live in Grantville, and they affect us in the community. We need the bathrooms open immediately and not have to wait and do the pee-pee dance until April the 1st. Thank you.
okay, Mr. Grishaber, announcement.
I have none, other than what's on the agenda, Mr. Mayor,
Okay.
and that being the initial election of, I forget what it is, the Municipal Gas Authority. The annual election will be on Friday, May the 3rd.
Okay, I have one announcement that is not on the agenda. This is for the council and the citizens of Grantville. On June the 23rd, 2022, almost 2 years ago, under the prior administration, Mr. Robert Royce, Mr. Lawrence Etheridge, and Mr. John McIntyre
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
created a federal lawsuit against the city of Grantville, Casey Evans, Al Grishaber, Cliff Schrieffer, Jim Sells, Alan Waycazer, and Mr. Steve Whitlock.
In the city of Grantville.
I said that, the city of Grantville. The lawsuit, which was pretty much a collection of word salad, involved Mr. Royce, who believed his First Amendment rights had been violated, and the other two gentlemen who were police officers believed that they were due COVID pay, and that was their legal piece behind all of this. In addition, on January the 22nd, 2024, Mr. Royce filed a per se, meaning he didn't have an attorney, lawsuit against Ms. Roberta Higgins in her official capacity as city clerk, with some, let's just say, wanting an open records request for information that he gained multiple times, but didn't like what he got because it was within the law. These cases, the main case, the federal case, went to a lot of discovery, months and months of discovery, went through a lot of depositions, many depositions. And in those depositions, quite a bit of information was gained as to the origin of these lawsuits, who's truly behind them, as well as still what's going on today. Several weeks ago, the plaintiff's lawyer, after the case had been moved to summary judgment for the judge, the plaintiff's lawyer contacted our lawyer and asked that the case be terminated. Not settled, terminated. That both sides would sign the termination cover their own costs, and walk away. In addition, we negotiated that Mr. Royce will terminate the lawsuit against Ms. Higgins, which he has. Within the scope of this, it also states that they can bring no more lawsuits, both sides, against each other with any form, anything bearing on anything that was. So Grantville, I wanted to bring that to you, that currently we are not under any lawsuits whatsoever. With that, we are adjourned. How you doing?
I'm well, yourself?
I'm